Emblem Warriors.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Let's Play Fire Emblem Warriors!
Where was my Flydwick?
He's in here. You'll see him eventually. Okay, so a couple things before we begin. So I'm going to be making a lot of parallels between Dragon Quest Heroes for this. And we're going to be playing it on 2-player co-op mode. So I think for purposes of the story, because all of my test runs were done on the new 3DS version of the game instead of the Switch version, which we're recording on now, we're going to be going with Leanna as our Lord. Whoops.
Oh.
Nope.
Get out of here.
You moved the cursor too many times. Alright, we're going to be going with Leanna as our main Lord. That's not going to impact too many things. We're also going to be playing on normal difficulty.
Please choose a game style.
Can I make a comment real quick?
Yeah.
Can I mention how I really hate when they make blonde characters, like, their hair yellow?
Yes.
It doesn't look good!
Yeah, I agree with that. I think she looks okay, though. I think she looks a little bit better than Rowan, but Rowan is actually a pretty okay character. I don't mind him too much. Let's see.
Just artist things. It just bothers me when it's just fucking yellow like that.
We're also going to be going with casual for that. We're not going to play with permadeath on because that's honestly not practical in a Musou game, especially when you're not actively controlling every character. So,
yeah, because if Extella had that, Ku would be so dead in my game.
E-Rake luck from the very beginning. So the next thing is, again, this is we're all doing this with live commentary. Michelle's here with me, of course.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to be doing this in 2-player co-op mode at first. I will probably continue this game later on in solo play.
Probably.
But this game does have a finite amount of story chapters, so I know how long this is going to be, roughly. It's not going to be as long as... It's not going to be as long as Danganronpa 2, but it's also not going to be as long as Berserk and the Band of the Hawk or Basra 3. So here's a very important decision right here. So do we want slow and steady controls or quick and efficient? So the difference here is if you pick slow and steady, not only do you get to see every single stat increase every time a character gains a level, just like in the traditional Fire Emblem games, but you also have to manually hit the A button to accept a side objective every time they appear. And this adds days to the gameplay, and I really do not prefer it. So we're going to be going with quick and efficient because you automatically, if I care to talk about the gameplay additions with, what do you call it, with the level ups and everything, I'll just compare stats in the status menu. I don't need to actually visually see how the stats increase because the stats don't have nearly as much bearing on the gameplay in a Musou game as they would in a strategy RPG. So this is the much preferred playstyle, especially if you're watching this Let's Play, because let's be fair, you don't want to watch stat increases and we have to hit A every single time there's a side objective and the character has to say mission start every single time. So we much prefer the way that Berserk did it, for instance, where the side objective appears and you just continue like normal. So we're going to begin with these settings, and
choose your save data.
We'll try to make right now it's like 2 players 1 controller right now because we haven't actually done the 2-player thing yet, have we?
Oh, I see what you were saying. I'm like,
yeah, like we'll have to figure that out. But in the meantime, we'll watch the opening cutscene.
Woo.
Did you bring the insert thing just in case? No. Even if you didn't, it's fine.
Nope.
Even if we end up having to play...
You can play like this.
Yeah, I'll have to.
It's a Switch. You can play it however way you want.
It's the Switch.
It's the Switch.
So yeah, for those of you that don't know, this game was released on the new 3DS and the Switch version being vastly superior. But the new 3DS version is not terrible, it's just a little bit on the ugly side.
I won't let you defeat us. Your power is nothing compared to the bonds that connect us. Your madness ends here and now.
Hello, Tara.
Power of friendship.
We won't let it be destroyed.
I like their swords.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
By the way, like the first cut, like the opening cutscene had like all the blue hair.
Yeah, so I guess we'll
all the blue hair people, and I'm like, holy shit.
Oh, hang on, we need to figure out the where's the...
I'm here to help.
I guess we can't do that from within the, Do you want me to figure it out, or do you want me to just play the...
Play!
Okay. All right, so we're in the action. So much like Awakening, and we have some beast type enemies. So very much similar to Awakening, we get the ending at the beginning. So I'll give you just a second to kind of get familiar with the controls again. So it is a Musou game, and it plays very similar to. Plays more similarly to Hyrule Warriors and some of the other Koei Tecmo ones than it does to Basara or Extella. But we have essentially, we have our normal, like, mash Y to do a normal melee attack, and every time we can hit that initial melee button up to 5 times, I think, and it increases to an increased maximum every time we unlock a new move. And we can do a heavy attack with the X button as a combo finisher, much like in other Musou games, and we get a different combo finisher depending on how many times we hit our light attack. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Alright, so for instance, the
I said yes, but I didn't comprehend that, fam.
as I continue to give my example, even though you say you comprehend it.
Yeah.
But I'll give an example. So if we hit Y one time, and then we hit X, we launch enemies into the air, which seems very typical of these types of games where... what's the dodge roll, if there is? I swear there is one.
Your power is nothing compared to the bonds
Yeah, if we hit it once and then hit the heavy attack, we launch enemies into the air, which I think is pretty efficient. We can show off some other ones. If we hit Y without having hit anything, we'll do like just a kind of heavy swing. There's also a one of the important gameplay mechanics that was added to this game is the stun gauge. So you'll notice a radial will appear. I can change characters with the directional pad, which is pretty nice. You'll notice a radial that will appear when I've dealt a certain amount of damage to an enemy, or if I have a weapon advantage against that enemy. And that is going to... we can decrease that stun gauge more quickly if we have a weapon advantage against that character. And then we can, let's see, I can't go that way. Where is Corrin? Here we go, we're playing as Corrin now. The stun gauge will allow us to do like a super finisher as well against that enemy, which is really nice. So enemies that... I need to figure out how to do the dodge maneuver. This is really aggravating. Huh.
You know there's 2 different, like... triggers, right?
Yeah, I'm using all of them, and it's not... It's just... Oh, duh, it's the B button. Okay. Here's Corrin's Warriors finisher, which is pretty nice. She turns into the Durgan. Close up on her, like, transformed face. What's crazy, too, is that Corrin... I actually prefer the way Corrin plays in this game. Corrin is a better character in this game than she actually was in Fates. Which is really kind of sad.
No running away this time. Now, together, we can take on anything.
Who the fuck are you?
Everything we've lost. We're going to take it all back.
I'm guessing that's her mom. Rest in peace, Mom.
Yep. So, like I said, just like in...
what the fuck is happening with this game?
Just like in Awakening, they give you a little piece of the end before the beginning. So you'll come back to that point in time later on. A lot of stories do that, and I tend to actually really like when you see that. It's like, I bet you're wondering how we got here. And I actually kind of like that.
No way am I sitting on the throne. Let Leanna take it instead. I'm gonna be Aetolus's most powerful knight.
Well, I don't want it either. You could be a knight and a king.
You know I don't want to be both.
I'm not taking the crown.
And again with the bickering. You two stand at the cusp of adulthood. What would he think of it if your father saw you acting like this?
Prince Darius of Gristone has arrived.
Darius is
Well,
here?
typical RPG protagonists, they can't have both parents.
No
That's a
scolding
rule.
Today. He already promised he'd help me with my studies. Are you listening?
She's like, these fucking kids.
Yeah, their banter is cheesy but endearing.
Just you wait. You're gonna lose to me again.
Whenever you're ready, Rowan.
Where the fuck did that voice come from? Sorry.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Are you all right?
Now then, let's see what Liana can do. If you meant to sit and watch, then you are very much mistaken.
I don't normally wield a sword when I'm so outmatched. But if it means that I'll get better, then I'm happy to oblige.
That's the
You
spirit.
know what is ideal. Strength and wisdom alike, both in equal measure.
I like Darius. He's an interesting character. He's sort of their, you know, older mentor type character, and he is not playable, however.
That's right.
I will go ahead and say that.
Heckin'
They're going for
so these weird Pokemon creatures. Are
These weird Pokemon creatures.
what is it called? The one in the
You
fifth
two
gen.
must keep going. Leave your mother's safety to me.
Excadrill.
Oh, Excadrill?
Yeah.
You mean Kamina?
Enemy is already inside the castle.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know that reference,
Pokemon.
It is insane.
at GDQ this year, the Pokemon White 2 speedrun was pretty much a solo Excadrill run, and they named it Kamina. And the whole thing was a bunch of Gurren Lagann references, and it was great. So as you can see, we have two different styles of cutscene here. We have the pre-rendered CGI cutscenes, and then the character portrait conversation scenes. Most of the character portrait conversations scenes are not as important, and I'll probably be skipping them.
Not when I'm here.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Remember your training.
I like Leanna's little twirl she does there. I think Leanna's saving... I'm going to just put this out there right now. Leanna's saving grace of her design is the thigh highs and the garter belt.
She's cute though. Like
Yeah.
my only complaint is her hair.
Yeah.
Like overall,
Here
she's
to
cute.
help.
Haircut, like hairstyle's fine. Everything is fine about her.
It's just the yellow instead
It's
of like
just
proper
so
blonde.
yellow.
Yeah. They could probably fix that with a texture patch, honestly.
Probably because I mean,
So we have two different gauges here. So the Warrior Special obviously is when the gauge, the smaller gauge you see there is full. And that just allows us to do a special move. We'll be using that a lot. Much like in, you know, like every Musou game has like a finisher and a gauge that you fill up. This one has two separate gauges that fill up. It has that one, and it also has the what the hell? The Awakening Mode gauge, which is the bar you see to the left of Rowan's portrait there in the picture. That one is a gauge that depletes over time once it's activated and allows us to just increase our damage against enemies. Pretty straightforward. We're going to group these enemies together. We're going to try to go after the big guy in here. Let me lock onto him.
log on to it.
And then do the... yeah, and then do the Warrior Special here. I love this animation, too, for Rowan and Leanna's. Like, the way they just, like, slash back and forth left to right is just... I think it's really cool.
Formidable.
I never really get tired
On
of
your
it.
guard.
Usually that move where she spins her sword around like that and sends the blades cascading out from her, that usually will trigger the stun gauge. So you'll see me use that a lot, although much like the other Musou games, I'm going to try not to abuse a particular move too much. So as you can see there, I was dancing around the enemy trying to dodge, trying to trigger his stun gauge, but unfortunately we don't have any kind of advantage against the monster types. We will get an advantage against them later on in the game, but not for now. And of course he's blocking now, so I'm going to dodge behind him to get some hits in. I guess the whole two-player thing didn't work out. We might be able to do that on the main menu, but
Yeah,
as long as you're having fun.
I'm just watching.
So the reason I chose Leanna this time is because I chose Rowan in my test run, so I wanted a little bit of variety.
Please be safe, Mother.
Mother, are you okay?
Yes, I am so glad to see you are safe as well. Thank you, Prince Darius.
Don't relax just yet. Looks like we've got company closing in.
Do you want those Oreo bites, don't you, Clint?
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I love how we have the random squire there that looks like Donald almost, because he looks like a generic villager.
Hey, don't hate on Donald. That's my boy.
Oh, he's a hero.
I did actually.
But I can't make it through. The two of you must go without me.
No, we can't.
Here's the fucking Fire Emblem, kids.
Hey,
Have a good time!
Hey, she's like, hey, you know how in most Fire Emblem games you don't even hear about the Fire Emblem until the end of the game? Well, guess what? Here you go.
Prom had it at the beginning of Awakening. It just wasn't fucking relevant.
Yeah.
No
He
way.
had it the whole time.
Mother, you're coming with us.
This whole passage is coming down around us. We have to go.
He's kind of hot.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I like him.
Now, get going.
Come on.
Y'all are gonna die.
And she died. Wait, no.
Looks like
I'm
we've
sure
come
she's
out
fine.
beyond the castle walls.
How could we let this happen?
We shouldn't have left her behind.
Don't let her sacrifice be in vain.
Yeah, she's dead.
You have to think
The
carefully
fuck is
about
in
what
his
you'll do
hair?
next.
A crown.
Wanted you to
He's
have that shield, right? You need to take
oh
it
my,
to the
he's
temple.
got some kitty ears in his
It's kind of ugly looking, I'll say
Worse than
that.
helpless.
This ever important monster dialogue.
There's no time for tears. Ready your blades. We're doomed if we don't fight.
I like his eyes too, they're different.
Yeah.
Just focus on making it out of town for now. Head for the exit.
Found the way out. Over there.
Let's go.
Yeah, the combat sandbox with Rowan and Leanna is actually very good. People kind of hate on them for being like generic insert protagonists that have no real bearing on the overall franchise. I'm actually totally okay with them, and although the first of my many comparisons to Dragon Quest Heroes I'm going to make over the course of this Let's Play is that, again, these two are essentially just like Lucius and Aurora. Oh, we managed to complete the Sun Gauge there, and we get a little finisher against that Gatekeeper.
Nice.
As we know, gatekeeping is terrible for every fandom.
The gate's open. Let's go.
And Michelle's looking at me like, why do I put up with you?
I've received a report.
Yeah. But yeah, Rowan and Leanna play fantastic, and they're sort of like the default characters that you get used to playing as the quickest. Again, they're very similar to Lucius and Aurora from Dragon Quest Heroes in the sense that they were protagonists. They were introduced just for the sake of the crossover game, but they're not bad, and they don't have quite the same quirks that those two did. We get a little healing item there. Drop from that guy. It did. And Lucius and Aurora's character tropes kind of fit within the sense of humor that Dragon Quest had. Let's see, protect the villagers. I think I can do that. And the characterizations of Rowan and Leanna do fit in with Fire Emblem's type of storytelling as well. You get the really wide-eyed and innocent.
Save Donald, he's got a pot in his head.
Oh yeah, he does. He is a typical villager.
There's still so many monsters.
Oh, okay, I guess we ran out of time. Story had to happen. But yeah, this game is almost exactly like Dragon Quest Heroes in terms of its plot. You have the world, a brand new world for the franchise that these characters exist in. All of a sudden, monsters start attacking, and then right when you need them the most, characters from other games come in.
Oh man, I thought it was Crawler first. Fucking Lucina, get out of here. Where's my boy?
Hey, who's Lucina? This guy looks just like Marth.
That you are?
Marth.
Get the fuck out of here.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Shut the fuck up.
Marth, like the legendary hero Marth? Oh yeah, we're still over here now. Cool, we can complete this objective. Alright, so they're now playable, so I can use the directional buttons to swap to
No.
not Marth. And we're gonna play as not Marth for a minute.
Lucina.
Hey, as long as she's wearing the mask, she is hashtag not Marth.
No time to
You'll also notice, looking at some of the generic enemies here, None of them are actually like shaded in yet, which looks really, it looks bad. Like I won't deny that, but you can see they're all axe wielders. So as a sword user, we have an advantage against them. Obviously because of the weapon triangle, which I'll talk about that in more detail when we fight more human enemies. You want to try?
I'm gonna try.
Okay. So you basically know the controls. The left, like L is to lock on to a heavier enemy.
Whoop, that didn't go anywhere where. Whoop, that worked though.
B is to do the dodge roll.
Focus on one at a time.
Yeah. So that's gonna be pretty important.
Oh
Oh!
I'm gonna get that right.
Yeah. I've been practicing my oh-hos lately. So have fun with Lucina while you see her, because I am not gonna be playing as her throughout the majority of the game.
Yeah, no kidding. Especially when Crom's a thing.
Yeah, I will be playing as Crom, but I will not be playing as
When is
Lucina.
okay? The most important question. Cordelia though.
Sooner than you think. She's available pretty quick. So as far as like unique features for a Musou game that Fire Emblem Warriors has, the ability to swap characters on the fly like this is pretty awesome. But again, it was done in Dragon Quest Heroes. But the ability to actually press the start menu and direct characters exactly to where you want them to go on the map is, pardon my language, but it's fucking amazing. Like, it is honestly probably one of the best features of this game, and I think it should be a staple of the genre from now on. Go to where the X is on the map. Yeah, they're not really they're not really fazed by it. Doesn't seem like.
Whack it! Oh, it didn't even die. Okay, bye. Like push enemies around. I escape. Jesus.
I'll go over all the characters and what game they're from and how they play as we go through this. All right, so we beat the prologue. Congratulations.